calls.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is I'm going to record it so you don't feel like you have to take notes. But let me kind of give you a short little breakdown about what it is that my whole goal in this is really, really simple. I want you to become more proficient in what it is that you say to people to make them see you as being the loan officer that you know you are, that most people don't believe that you are. And let me expand on that a little bit. There was a gentleman, an author, that wrote a book a while back called It Starts With Why. The guy's name is Simon Sinek. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is.
No.
No? Okay. So Simon Sinek came up with a phrase that said, why do you get out of bed in the morning and why should anybody care? Think about that for a second. Why should you get out of bed in the morning and why should anybody care? And when I started to recognize how that applied to my life personally, I quickly realized how it began to apply to my life professionally. And one of the greatest questions that we as professionals in any industry fail to ask ourselves is, why do our clients want to use us? If I was to ask you that question in front of you and say, if I'm a consumer, Madison, why should I use you to do my loan? And I think you'd be hard-pressed to be able to answer that question without using the generic adjectives that everybody else uses. Is that fair?
Right. Fair.
So answer me that question. If I'm a client looking at you, why should I use you as a loan officer?
I care whether or not you get into the home, not just if I get paid on it, I guess.
Okay.
But that's a good question to have a good answer to.
Yep. And so the question that I'm asking is a significantly larger issue that we all struggle with, and most of us have never really developed a skill set around. And the reality is when you can't answer that for your clients, how are your clients supposed to define who you are to them if you can't even define who you are to them?
Okay.
It's a really, really complex question, but it's a really simple answer when you finally get down to it. When you give me the answer of, because I care, how do you prove that statement to somebody in the first 5 minutes to get them to really start listening to what you have to say and not just hearing what you have to say? Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Can you hold on 1 second? Larry is asking me to send him the link to the class again. So
Sure.
Think about that question for just 1 second. Let's see if I can find it again. Sent items.
Actually, Doug, while you do that, can I go pour a cup of coffee right quick? It's just in the other room.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
No
I'll
problem.
be right back.
No problem.
Okay.
All right, no problem. So when you ask yourself that question, it's kind of hard to answer, isn't it?
It is. It's difficult. And it's so easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's the one question that I think every client, whether spoken or unspoken, has when they show up. When you show up to a meeting with a consumer, or you show up to a meeting with a realtor, or you show up to a meeting with a financial planner or an attorney, or anybody that you're trying to build a relationship with, ask yourself this question. Do you become more desirable if you're able to answer that question or not?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that the question is significantly more powerful if you bring it up or waiting for them to bring it up? Which do you think means more, if you bring it up or if they bring it up?
You know, I guess being more proactive and bringing it up myself.
So here's the analogy that I want to use.
Okay.
And this is probably true of just about every relationship that I've ever had and probably everybody's ever had. If your significant other, or let's say for you, you walk into a room and your significant other's in there and you ask them, hey, how do I look? And they say, you look fantastic. Or you walk into the room and they say, wow, you look fantastic, before you said anything, which one means more to you?
When they say it first.
Right, when it's unsolicited, right?
Right.
Because it feels more genuine, right?
Correct.
Feels like they're paying attention, right?
Yeah,
Feels like they're engaged with you, correct?
that's correct.
It's amazing. The truth is that when you show up to a meeting with anybody, anytime that you're able to ask the question that you know they're thinking, it puts you into a position of being more trustworthy, being more professional, being more aware, and being more connected because they feel like, and again, they feel, not they believe, they feel like you are connecting with them. And it's a very subtle technique. It's a very subtle approach to business, but it allows you to position yourself as being a professional. Because let's be honest with ourselves, every client that you meet with is thinking that question, whether consciously or subconsciously. If you're able to broach it, if you're able to basically sit down with somebody and go, listen, I know that you're thinking whether or not I'm the right person to work with you, and my goal today is to make sure you understand why I got out of bed this morning and why you should care about it. And I say it like that, not to say that that's what you say to your clients, but it's the attitude that you have to have when you walk into a meeting. Because if you can sit down with somebody and take that first question and throw it out onto the table, it elevates you above every other loan officer that's ever had a conversation with them. Whether it's a consumer, whether it's a realtor, whether it's an attorney, financial planner, accountant, and so forth. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the reality for what we're doing through these next several weeks of classes is really helping you define who you are to your clients. And the reason this is so important is because once you identify with what it is you are to your consumer or to your client and why you do things, it allows you to talk and become more effective in your communication. Because at the end of the day, what I'm going to provide you is the tools and strategies to help you control your business like a volume knob on your radio, simply by being aware of the conversations that you're having with the people that you're already dealing with anyway, doing the things that you're already doing anyway, but I'm going to teach you how to capitalize and to leverage and how to use the effort that you're putting into every one of your relationships to really create future business. Okay. And the bottom line in this is, what I'm going to teach you is a skill set that's not easy. It's not something that just shows up that you take from one class and you're instantaneously great at it. It requires practice, it requires commitment, but you're going to be doing all the work every day in your business anyway. I'm just going to teach you how to do some simple little adjustments to your conversations, and you're going to see some amazing results out of it, because if you are clear on why people should use you, you're going to be able to get those people to see it and then advocate you to the people in the life that they care about. And the best part about it is, it's free.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Hey, Larry. Hey, Larry, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good, my friend, doing good. Hey, listen, can you just take a quick second? I know you just jumped on the call, but I want you to kind of give Madison, who recently just joined Heckmans branch. I don't know if you guys have ever spoken or know each other, but give her a little bit of a testimonial as to what you've experienced over the last couple weeks in the class, and what you've gained and what's helped you, and really what she should maybe what she should be expecting to see have happen.
Okay. Hey, Madison, how you doing?
Hey, Larry, how are you?
For the second time today.
Yeah.
We all go through different hurdles, and I don't care. I've been in the business 30 years, and we're all trying to always build a new market, a new brand, and Brian's got a great message, and it comes over from Carl and SMP, the whole group. But what Doug has taught me is it definitely added a ton of value. But he's added a confidence to an angle that I didn't look at. And when I started, and again, for a long time, and I'll say maybe the past 20 years, realtors are junk. They think they're brain surgeons. They act like they're brain surgeons. They get a couple of deals going for them, and they're on top of the world. So when they were listening to you 2 years ago. They're not listening to you now because they're selling everything they put their hands on. And it's not because they're a good salesperson. It's because the market is moving in that kind of direction and being very, very positive. But Doug has given me a different angle. I looked at myself a little bit different to the people I really wanted to work with and giving them value and why they should go ahead and work with me. And it's me earning their trust in developing a friendship, but then really wanting to learn how to work the position and be referable and added value to their position. And it has turned all my whole process around. Again, I wasn't working my database as hard. I would kind of just work my friends, work the angles, and when I really did something good or we really did a good deal, I would say, fine, hey, no problem, that's what I do, let's go get a drink. And we'd go get a drink in a day or two. Now I ask them for more business. If I treated you this good and you saw me do this good for you, do you have any other family members, friends, relatives, or business associates that you think they need some help as well? It has really blossomed. Again, I haven't even left my database yet. And Carl says, call 25 people, call this, call this. I've been calling 5 people a day. And I just have to make sure I get on track to call my 5 people a day. And if I can get 2 or 3 deals out of it, it just mushrooms. Now that you have those people, again, I'm not calling on realtors. But if I get those people, now I'm asking them for their referrals, and it works. So it's been really, really good. I work with realtors, but that's not my forte. I don't like hanging out with them. As Doug said, I wouldn't want them managing my money. They a flash in the pan. And the people I would really work with before are now into their elderly age. They don't know about Facebook. They don't know about the new marketing, but that's the side angle with these new realtors. The old realtors have just really, the ones I work with, I've really added value back to the same people I would work with, but I've taken a little bit more serious approach to my business, trying to be referable and branding myself instead of working for the company and letting them know whatever the company says, that's what I'm doing. It's me, not them.
Right. So here's the distinction that I'm going to make about what it is that we're working on. Madison, there's 2 roles that we play in our business every single day. One is that we're a loan officer. The other one is that we're an originator. Do you have a definition of what an originator is and what a loan officer is?
I would assume the originator is just basically doing the application and putting all of the documents together. That's kind of hard because I feel like those are kind of the same thing.
Okay. And there's no right or wrong answer, but let me define it for you the way that I've kind of defined it for my business. I believe that a loan officer is the person that takes the application from its inception until the date of closing and the client gets their keys. That's what I decide as a loan officer. It is the order taker. It is the paper chaser. It is the condition chaser. It is the phone answer. It's all of those things. It's everything that happens from the moment the client agrees to work with you all the way through the time that it closes. That's what I define as a loan officer. And for our classes, I want that to be the definition. An originator is the person that actually originates the opportunity, originates the relationship, and creates the opportunities that the loan officer has to have their job. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Brian Heckman's branch is exceptionally good at managing the loan officer duties. You have a support team. You have a mechanism that provides you the chance to simply just originate the loans, and they take care of the rest. So everything that we're going to talk about in our classes has nothing to do with being an originator. Being a loan officer. And to be completely transparent with you, I was the worst loan officer ever in history, guaranteed. But I managed to close a consistent volume for 20 years. 2013, I closed just a hair north of 15 million by myself. And it was 100% referred to me. 63% of it came from my past clients, but every closing that I did came from referrals. Let me see if I can show this to you. Bear with me here for 1 second, guys.
And Madison, that was my problem. I was shaking down all the conditions, running it, meeting this, running it. Now I do 10% of that, and I leave everything to the office. And once Brian agreed, it's nuts. I get crazy volume because I'm not doing all the other busy work, and I'm just doing stuff to put money in. That's what we need to do, bring money in.
Correct. So I've tracked my business since 2005. So here we go, 2005 as an example. So here's June of 2000. Everybody has their computer screen up?
Yep.
Yes.
This is a list from June of 2005. These are all the people that were referred to me. You'll see the acronyms over here. This represents past client referral, realtor, past client, business relationship, past client referral, and you'll go down here and see past client referrals were 12, current client referrals were 4, past client referrals were 5, business relationships were 6, realtors were only 2. Go back, let's go to 11 of 2005. This is the first month. I had 6 realtors, but look at the past client referrals, and current clients. Not a ton of business came from realtors. So what I'm sharing with you guys here is this stuff works. It's not rocket science, but what I'm going to teach you is common sense relationship building mindsets that should allow you to capitalize on all the hard work you put into your business every single day that we fail at capitalizing on daily. And this goes on, I mean, it just keeps going and going. So February 2006, I mean, this is stuff that I've tracked every single month. We'll get into this later, but this is an example of what my business looked like when I was operating it 2006. And this goes all the way through to, I don't know, it just goes and goes and goes. So anyway, I track it. Bottom line is that's also part of my business. Point of me showing that to you is proof that it works. Does anybody else disagree? Does anybody see that it works?
No, it works.
Yeah.
Yes, it works. Okay, so what I want to get into is if you're going to be an originator, where most of us fail at is that we spend all of our day being a loan officer. We spend most of our day chasing conditions, processing, calling clients, doing all the minutia that we hate. Is it fair? We all hate being a loan officer, right? That's probably why Brian Heckman's office is so attractive, because you probably can't stand the days that you have to work in your business every single day and you get no sales done. You don't get any time to do any origination activities. Madison, when was the last time you spent an entire day originating?
Every day for the last days I was at my other company. Oh, originating. Sorry, other definition.
Yes.
Well, since I've started with Brian, yeah.
Okay. Larry, how about you?
Probably halfway through your or my coaching session. And again, I still get documents for the clients if they're trying to I'm trying to help out. Yeah, but I spend 1/10 the time now that I did a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The point is that go ahead.
Sorry, that works for you and me too. He's from the home office, but he talked to Brian and said, get some support people, and then everybody started getting hired, and now they've got Chuck in there, and it's been night and day. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do my material, do my origination, turn the file in, and help them get through their day, but as long as it doesn't interfere with my origination.
Correct. I want you guys to realize that your greatest struggle in your businesses is not knowing your value. Madison, we talked about it in the very first question I asked you. Why should anybody want to work with you? That's the homework assignment I'm going to give you until next week, is that I need you to be able to tell me when you sit down with a client why you should work with me. And let me give you mine. Go ahead, Larry, go ahead.
I said, please take notes.
This call is being recorded, so let me show you guys. Close deep cataract. Where to go? Where to go? Where to go? All right. All right. Oops, that's too small. All right. This is my logo for my team. Madison, what does it say?
A triangle, a trust business, the Cataract Mortgage Group, established 1996.
What does the word triangle of trust say to you? What's your first impression?
Safe.
Safe, huh? That's cool. I love it. I love it. Here's what my presentation looked like for clients, and I'm going to abbreviate it for sake of time. The reason you want to work with me is because I'm sitting here with 3 points of a triangle, and I would draw it out on a piece of paper. Madison, you and I have a relationship with somebody in common, and that's Brian. Right now, you and he have a great relationship because you've entrusted your business and future financial life to him, and Brian has entrusted his business growth with his LOs in me. So together, you and I have one common person. Brian would be down at the bottom. You would be up here at the top left, and I'm up here at the top right. My ultimate goal and everything that I do with you moving forward is to help amplify your relationship with Brian by putting his needs, wants, and goals in line with your needs, wants, and goals. Through doing this, I create a triangle of trust between 3 people that if I maintain a great relationship with you by doing everything you want, I further my relationship with Brian. And what it tells you is that if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that your goals, wants, and needs are met, because all it will do is help amplify my relationship with Brian, and it will also help amplify my relationship with you. And who wins in that situation?
Everybody.
Right. And what happens to you when you call Brian up and say thank you to him?
He's going to thank you, maybe.
He will thank me. Ask yourself the last time that you've done anything or purchased a product or used a service. Has anybody ever called you and said thank you to you if you referred it?
Yes.
Or, yep. Describe that scenario for me. What happened?
Well, actually, I guess I could say the reverse scenario. Someone mentioned a security system in the neighborhood that he got, and I actually went and got it as well. So I went back and thanked him for opening up that door. Great price, great value. So.
Have you ever gotten that call? Have you ever been the one that referred something and got a call and said, hey, Madison, by the way, thank you so much for introducing me to so-and-so. They did an awesome job.
I'm sure I have, but I can't just think of a scenario off the top of my head.
Well, you've answered the question for me because it hasn't happened enough.
Okay.
The truth is that we use products and services every day, and very rarely do we ever get an acknowledgement of how we're able to help other people. The truth is that your clients, when they decide to work with you, don't you think they're putting probably the most important decision and most privileged information in your hands?
Yes.
Do you think that when they do that, that they're giving you the highest compliment?
Yes.
Do you believe that let me say it this way, the last client that you closed, where did that client come from?
A Lending Tree lead.
Lending Tree lead, okay. So was it an easy conversation? Was it an easy transaction?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. How would you like it if the next client that you got came to you and said, oh, by the way, Larry Sweeney said that you were an awesome loan officer and that I should work with you because you did such a great job on our loan?
It would mean a lot to me. Yeah.
Right? It validates you, doesn't it?
It does.
And then how powerful would it be if that person went back to Larry and said, wow, you're right, Madison is awesome. What does that do for your relationship with Larry?
I'm sure he would refer someone else to me.
Now we're starting to get the concept of why you should work with me. Why do you believe that I'm the right person for the job, and why do I know I'm the right person for the job? Is because I'm going to make sure that everything that I do, every conversation that I have, it's going to end in a wow or a thank you or some kind of an accolade, and I'm going to remind you not to keep me a secret. And if you do that with enough people, you're going to expand your brand of building relationships with people to where your ability to generate leads is going to simply be based on how many people you talk to a day.
Okay.
And simply by making, Larry, what do we call it? What do we have to make every day?
Referable.
You have to be referable, but you have to make requests.
Oh,
How many times during? Yep. How many times throughout the process, Madison, when you work on a loan, do your clients say thank you to you?
Almost every time we speak.
Ah, and what's your typical response?
You're welcome.
You're welcome, my pleasure, no problem, it was no big deal, it's what I do. I mean, we minimalize everything we do, don't we?
Right.
We truly do minimalize it. Here's the question that I'm going to ask you, and we'll leave the call today with this. You have a group of friends. If you were to move tomorrow and you didn't tell any of your friends that you were moving, what do you think they would say when they find out that you moved and didn't ask them for help or tell them that you were moving?
They would be disappointed, I'm sure.
Why would they be disappointed?
I didn't think of them.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they would feel like maybe you don't care about them?
Yeah.
Do you think they would call into question your real relationship with you have with them? Like how much does my relationship with you really mean?
Most likely.
It's kind of a big deal to move. And if none of your friends knew you were moving and if you didn't reach out to them to ask them for help, it would be probably disheartening for them, right?
Right.
Okay. Every one of your clients, and I mean this sincerely, has given you more private and privileged information that they would give than they would give anybody. They're putting probably their largest investment in their life in your hands. And I don't take that lightly. But yet, we don't believe that we are deserving of asking them for help. They're asking us for help. They're putting commitments on us with regards to timeframes, rates, fees, costs, all that. And when we do a good job and they say thank you to us, we simply go, no big deal, my pleasure. There's a huge gap in our businesses because we spend so much time being the loan officer that we forget how to be the originator. When you're digging a trench in your backyard, which is what a loan officer does, they're the ones that swing the hammer and dig the trench. We don't spend any time looking at the opportunities that are put in front of us every single day. That's why we get so frustrated with our loan officer activities and why we hate doing it so much is because we know that at the heart of our business, we are true salespeople. We're originators at heart. We want to originate relationships. We want to originate loans. We want to originate business. We want to originate commissions. A loan officer doesn't originate. A loan officer pushes paper. They tie up loose ends. They connect the dots. Through our classes, I'm going to teach you how to be a loan officer with an originator mindset. And that's going to allow you to ask for business and to help increase your loan business by doing the stuff that you're already doing anyway. I'm just going to teach you how to ask differently and how to capitalize on it and to be more aware.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Sounds great.
People use me, my clients use me, not because I care, but because I can prove to them why I care. When I draw out this triangle of trust, Madison, there's not a question in their mind what my incentive is. My incentive is to go back to the person that referred me. Let's use this as an example. Let's go with, let's see, Chuck Aplegian. Bobby and Joy Thomas, well, they didn't close. Let's go with, let's find somebody that I remember from 2008. Let's see. Amy Romer, perfect example. Okay, Amy Romer. She works for the Salvation Army in Detroit as lead counsel. Jennifer Brown was her colleague at college that I did a mortgage for a while back, 2008. When I sat down with Amy, I explained to her that Jennifer wouldn't have referred you had I not created an advocate in her, had I not asked. Amy decided to use me not only because of what Jennifer said, but because she believed that I was clear on why I was doing my business this way. I wanted Amy to go back to Jennifer and say thank you. And you know what happened? Amy did go back to Jennifer and say thank you. You know what happens? When I called Jennifer up to thank her for the referral, Amy had already called her. And you know how great that conversation was with Jennifer?
Yeah.
These are conversations that we can have every single day with our clients, but we don't because we're too busy chasing conditions and chasing files and chasing details. We don't spend any time originating and managing our relationships. The reality is that Amy came to me because I explained to Jennifer that my #1 goal is to create an advocate in her so that she would feel comfortable referring to people she cared about. And we'll get into the psychology of that statement in and of itself because it's very subtle, but it's a very powerful statement. The reality is that if you ask enough people every single day to help, every one of your friends will. And every client that's working with you, you should consider a friend because they've given you the utmost respect to handle their finances and to disclose information about their personal life that they don't share with anybody. Why wouldn't you consider them to be a friend? Not a friend that you have dinner with and hang out with and socialize with, so that does happen, but as a statement, it's the assumptive close. I want my clients to believe that I'm their friend. I always ended my conversations with my clients, but isn't it nice to know you have a friend in the business? And you know what I got? It was a relief. Oh my God, thank you. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Because I was able to create an advocate in them because I asked them for help. And we'll get into all that next week, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a taste of it. Madison, is this kind of resonating a little bit? Does this make sense?
It does, yeah.
Do you think it's going to be easy for you to come up with a statement that tells people why they should work with you?
I think so.
That's your homework assignment for next week. I want you to be prepared to be able to say that because what I want you to each get used to doing is when you start a conversation with a client, whether it's a realtor, a consumer, anybody, I want you to be able to have that conversation at the forefront of your mind. I want you to pull it out of them. I want you to look at across the table from them and go, you know what? You know what? In this case, Amy, I want to tell you a little bit about me before we begin. I want you to understand that my business model is really built around relationships. It's built around this triangle of trust. I want nothing more than to create an advocate in you so that you feel comfortable referring me to the people you care about. Much the same way that Jennifer referred you, I'm going to eventually get you to the point where you're going to feel compelled to want to do the same. So everything I do today is built around making sure that I'm going to pay attention to your wants, goals, and needs so that at the end of our conversation, whether you choose to use me or not, you're going to go back to Jennifer and say thank you. And if at the very least you're able to do that, that means that I've maintained and amplified my relationship with Jennifer, and you know that everything that I'm doing is centered around making sure that I'm going to help you figure out what's best for you. I may not be the best lender for you, but I am the best lender to talk to about figuring out what your options are. And because I care so much about Jennifer, I promise you that whatever we talk about is going to be centered around what's right for you. Is that fair?
That sounds great.
That's the presentation that I would give to my clients. And at that point, am I a commodity or am I a relationship consultant? I'm no longer a rate. They don't ask me about fees. They don't ask me about costs. Those are important questions that we eventually get to. But I get the buy-in, I get the commitment, I get the ability to have my clients start listening to me, not just hear me. And we know the difference between somebody listening and hearing. We've all had the conversations with our significant others or our friends or our colleagues where they hear you, but they're not really listening. The point is that when you get somebody to listen, that means that they've connected with you. And that's when you have them. That's when you have their buy-in. And until you're able to convince them to start listening to you, they'll only hear you. And so when you're able to speak about why they should use you in a clear and concise manner, you get that from the moment that you sit down with them so you don't have to spin your wheels trying to convince them that you're the right person for the job.
Right.
That's my 2 cents for today.
It works. Good.
What do you think, Madison? What's your take from today?
I think it, I mean, I think it all sounds great. I think it just makes you look at it all just a different way.
I want you to spend some time asking yourself that question, and it's going to be difficult because if you think about what you say to people, you're going to come up with a bunch of different adjectives. I care, I listen, I'll return your phone calls. Remember, people remember information when it's described in a story. And they remember it more when it's about them. think about my entire presentation that I just shared with you. I didn't really make it about me, did I?
No.
I made it about them and how they're going to see the benefit. Okay.
Okay.
So work on that for me, and then we'll pick up the class again next Tuesday we'll do 10 o'clock again. Madison, why don't you tell me something about, tell me something that you want to accomplish between now and next week that I can help you with. What's one thing that you have on your radar that that I can help you with beyond what we just talked about today? Is there anything?
I'm not really sure. Well, like besides the information you just gave me, I think that I'll definitely, I have a realtor meeting, and maybe I'll just kind of take it a little bit of a different direction starting out. But I'm not sure like what immediately I could ask you for help with.
Okay. If you're going to go meet with this realtor for the first time,
Yes.
what are you going to ask them? What's the first question that you're going to ask them?
Like from what you and I have talked about.
Well, what would you normally ask a realtor when you sit down with them for the first time?
Well, I asked them about themselves and how they got into the business. Just kind of get them to start talking about themselves.
And then when they're done talking about that, what happens? What makes you different?
Basically, just having the, I mean, it's, I have like, you know, I'm sure you've heard the whole process that Brian has us go through.
Yep. Well, what makes you, not Brian's team or your business, but what makes you different?
I always say that the communication thing, because obviously that's always the biggest downfall for LOs.
I like it. Okay, I like it. Do you know what realtors are looking for in your market?
Someone to get their loans closed, no extensions.
Yep. Do you know specifically that that's what this realtor is looking for?
No.
Okay. If I could give you one piece of advice, it would be I would start off the conversation by honoring them and then asking them the question of, you know, what is it about the last 3 or 4 transactions with a lender that you didn't like? What was it that made you, and let's be honest, they're meeting with you because their previous lending experience recently hasn't been that positive, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be meeting. So the fact that they're meeting with you tells you that they have had some kind of a struggle or some kind of a challenge that they're seeing if there's a better way to do it. My advice would be ask them, what was your last 4 transactions like? What was it about the lender that you liked, and what was it about the lender you didn't like?
Okay.
And listen, and start building information up about what the realtors in your market are feeling and seeing out there, so that when you show up, you can start providing them with the answers to the questions before they ask it. Kind of like the scenario of why should you use me? You know that's a question that they're thinking.
Right.
When they're sitting down in front of you, they're wondering what makes you different than every other LO in the marketplace. And you're going to say communication, and you're going to say Brian's process, which are all differentiating factors. The problem is, how do you convince somebody to really listen to what you're saying when they've probably heard that stuff from every lender before? So what I would ask them first is, what is it about your last 4 or 5 transactions and the lender you work with that you liked and didn't like? And use that to your advantage. Pull the information out of them. Be more interested in them and what their challenges are so that you know what the answer is, as opposed to just telling them that communication is what makes you unique.
Okay.
They may not have any problems with communication with their lender. They just may find that the products that they're working with are horrible. So spend some time figuring out what their hot buttons are before you get into who you are, because you are everything to them. You can meet and exceed every expectation that they have, but you first have to figure out what their expectations are, because as soon as you start talking to them about what you are, if those aren't the hot points, they're going to shut down, because they're going to be like, they're just speaking about the same stuff that I've heard from every lender before.
Right. Okay.
And I would work on telling them a little bit about, what your unique selling proposition is. What makes you different? Like, why should they use you? And I wouldn't use a standard answer. I would wait till after you've pulled some information out of them. How was that realtor referred to you?
I'm pretty much cold calling right now.
Okay. Good. And the realtor agreed to meet with you. Do you know what kind of business they do? Do you know what kind of volume they do?
I do. I just don't have the numbers in front of me. I can look right quick if you want me to.
No, that's okay. You want to make sure that you're clear on who you're working with too. Make sure that the agent that you're talking to is actually doing some buying and not just listings.
Okay.
When is the conversation that you're going to have with the realtor? When's the appointment?
It's on Friday.
It's on Friday? Okay. Friday afternoon or morning?
Friday morning.
Friday morning. I'm going to call you Thursday afternoon, and I want to chat with you a little bit.
Okay.
I want to get you pumped up. I want to see how this is going to go.
Actually, I had 2 this week, and I don't have my calendar's like behind on my computer, so I can pull it up. I think the one on Friday is the one that pushed back, so the one on Thursday morning is the one I still have.
Okay, so let's talk tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to work on that conversation a little bit. I want you to tell me. Well, let me say it in a different way. We all have a view of the world around us based on our experiences. Every realtor has a view of of a loan officer based on their experiences, correct? And would you think most of the time realtors look at loan officers unfavorably?
Yes.
Okay. Largely due in part because our competition is so weak. We don't really have true professionals in our industry. We have a lot of hacks still. We just have a lot of people that are rate shopper providers. We have a lot of order takers. We don't have a lot of consultants. So every time you sit down with a realtor, you have a very short window to convince them that you're different. I'm sure you got some pictures hanging up in your office, Madison, where you're sitting. Every time you change the frame of a picture, does it change the way the picture looks?
Yes.
Pretty significantly, doesn't it? If you put a steel frame or a black frame or a bamboo frame or any kind of a frame around a picture, it changes the picture almost in its entirety, which is kind of amazing when you think about it because it plays such a small role in it. But it's framed in such a way that either pulls the color out of it, it mutes some of the colors. It's truly an amazing experience. So, Madison, when was the last time that you've had a conversation with a police officer?
I guess a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I haven't gotten pulled over down here yet.
Okay. What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of police officer? Quick. First
Always
word.
been friendly to me. Protection. I've never had a bad experience. Yeah.
Okay. I'm willing to bet you that there are certain experiences that people have had that would have a negative tone if somebody said police officer. Depends on where you're from, depends on the city, depends on who you are as an individual. Point is this. Realtors have a perception of loan officers, and we have a very, very, very short window of time to get them to see us the way that we want them to see us. We can't go in there and sound and act like every other loan officer that's knocked on their door. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time, you're going to waste your money, and you're not going to find that anybody's really engaging with you. Only way to get your realtors to engage with you is to connect with them. Connect with them about something personal, but also connect with them on why you are who you are. A lot of the work that I've put into my business has come from my personal life. My why, that I do things, like why do I get out of bed in the morning and why should anybody care? I get out of bed in the morning because I have two girls that from my first marriage that are the most important things to me. That's why I get out of bed in the morning. But why should anybody care is because I've made a commitment to become the man that they're going to choose their future husband on. I want to be the benchmark. I want to be the person that they look to when they look at the guys that they're dating. I want them to ask themselves, do they treat me like my dad does? Do they act like my dad? Are they the quality of person that my dad is? So every decision and every choice that I make in my entire life is centered around that goal, that mindset of my why. So when I sit down with realtors, I don't share that with them, or not all of them, but it was always in my heart so that when I communicated my value, I'm communicating to them based on what I believe is ultimate, which is the relationship. My relationship with my agents is centered around one philosophy. I only want to work with agents that believe that the relationship with their client is paramount. And not every client and not every realtor is a referable agent. And if you're not a referable person, chances are I'm never going to get a referral from you. So when you're sitting down in front of that realtor, Madison, ask yourself this question. Why would you want to work with them?
Okay.
That's your goal. Figure out why you would want to work with them. You already know why they should work with you. Chances are they don't know why they should work with you. And then you have to ask yourself, why do I want to work with them?
Okay.
It's a little bit of a mind game. It's a little bit of a psychological conversation. But this business is not about rates and fees, people. This is about relationships and psychology. This business is all psychology. I don't know guidelines. I never knew guidelines. I'm not a very good loan officer. I couldn't touch a file. I can't complete a 1003. I was the worst detail-oriented person. But my business was extremely successful built on my ability to create relationships and get them to refer me. So it's possible. I just want you guys to learn how to become more referable and to be able to get away from those people that aren't. And most realtors that are out there are not. Most realtors that are out there are not referable. But right now, you need to talk to as many realtors as you possibly can to develop a style, because you haven't really done that yet, and you really got to get into the trenches. And maybe Larry can help you with this a little bit. Have as many conversations with agents as you possibly can, but go into it knowing that most agents, they're just not a referable person. And if they're not referable, chances are you're going to be getting a lot of unqualified leads from a lot of people who really just have a job. They don't have a business. You guys run a business. You guys have a business. Larry, you have a business. You have a mortgage practice. In Madison, you are building a mortgage practice. These are not JOBs for you. As Larry mentioned earlier, realtors, I would never trust my future income or my financial livelihood on a realtor. Not one realtor. That's why most of my business came from my past clients and so little from my realtor base. Okay? I'm going to teach you guys how to make it rain when you want. I promise. Stick with me long enough and you'll start seeing the effects of it. Is that an amen, Larry?
No, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Have a great afternoon, guys. Madison, I will chat with you. Hey, Matt, I don't know if I have your what is your cell phone number, Madison?
It's 901-643-2109.
And where are you from?
Tennessee.
Oh, how did you make it all the way down to Florida?
In 2 pickup trucks.
What brought you guys down to Florida?
It's just been my lifelong dream. So after college, I just packed up and moved.
Did you go to University? Are you a Vol?
No, I'm from Memphis, but I went to the U of M, Memphis.
Got it. Okay, University of Memphis. Okay, so how long have you been down in Florida?
For 2 years. So I don't have a lot of relationships. That's what I was telling Larry yesterday. There's not a lot of, past database I can really work off of. All of the refinances I've been doing, they're all in Indiana. Yep. So.
Okay. So I'm going to have a separate conversation with you tomorrow, because what you have is a chance to basically recreate an image for yourself. You don't have any bad press. You don't have any negative press. You don't have any press.
Right.
The reality is that you're a fresh face. You're eager. You've got good charisma. You've got a great conversational style. You've got that Southern Belle accent, which draws people in to want to enjoy talking to you. It's definitely an advantage. And you'll find that most of what you're going to talk about has very little to do with loans, if anything. You're going to talk more about people and feelings. And it's crazy to say that in this business, but if you ask yourself what makes somebody decide to work with you, it isn't about rates and fees. It really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with whether or not they trust you and whether or not they like you. And you have a 5-minute window to prove that to somebody. That's why my triangle of trust model has been so powerful, because it grabs people instantaneously into the relationship mindset and connects with them at a level that nobody has ever really told them before. And you can have that with your very first client. You don't need a referral source. You can use that with a realtor. You can use that with a client. And I'm promising you, if you use it on a consistent basis, I'm telling you what, it's going to change the way people look at you, and your conversations are going to be infinitely different.
I definitely can see that. I think it would be very effective. So hopefully I can, yeah, I look forward to getting that down.
All right, here's 2 things that I need from you guys now that Madison has just brought them up. First is, I never want to use the word hope ever again. Hope is a drug. Hopium is a drug that I do not live on, because everything we do is not built on hope. It's on effort and commitment. Fair?
Okay.
You will never use the word hope again, because that's a drug.
Okay, I use it a lot, so I'm sorry if it slips. Sometimes I promise I'll do my best.
I will call you out on it all the time.
Sounds good.
And the next one is, I think. I think is a weak statement. You either will or you do. Either you will or you will not. I think, I'll try. The word I try is weak too. You either do or you don't. So if I give you a homework assignment, it isn't that you will try to do it, it's that you will do it. See, most of our, Madison, did you play any sports in college? Did you do any kind of activities?
I still do. I play rugby.
Okay, you play rugby. So how many games a week do you have?
About 1 every other week in season.
And how many times a week do you practice?
Twice.
Okay. So you basically practice twice as many times as you play.
Pretty much, yes.
How many times a week do you practice your craft versus how many times a week do you actually take an application?
So practice taking an application, well, I am starting to practice a lot more, so not as much as I should yet, but I will start to practice a lot more.
Yep, practice your conversations. That's what this coaching call is all about, is practicing the stuff that allows you to work on your business. This call is about working on your business, not working in your business. This call in and of itself is an effort to practice working on your business. The information that you get here is stuff that you have to implement into your business, but you have to apply it. You have to practice it. You have people in your life, role play it with your friends. Your conversation that you have is not perfect. It will never be perfect, but your clients will never know the difference. All you're wanting to do is get the message across.
Okay.
Make sense?
It does.
Cool. That's a wrap, guys. That's all I got. Any questions for me?
Great. No, I got it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Next week's class, Madison, I want you to work on your, why should you work with me conversation. Then we're going to get into dialoguing a little bit about how you say things and why you say them in a sequence, so that you can start helping people define, so you can start helping people understand what it is that you do in a way that you've probably never approached, and it'll make you different.
Okay.
Be referable, guys. Have a great week.
Okay. Hey, Doug,
Thank
are
you
you
so
going to put it on
much.
your morning message?
What's that?
Are you going to put it on your morning message board, your group?
I will. I've got 6 new LOs that I've got to add, so I'm going to create a separate.
I know you have a lot going on, but that'd be really good because I like seeing those still.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So why don't you do me a favor? I've got your cell phone number. I will send you today's, Madison. Madison, what's your last name?
Barber, like a barber shop. Well, no one ever knows what I'm saying.
Barber. Okay. Perfect.
Barber.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right, guys. Make it a great day.
Okay,
Thanks,
you too.
Talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.